flaps on deck here in the Shamrock Run women's 5,000 meters. Shamrock Run, an amazing event on the waterfront every year, one of the top 8Ks in the country. And here we go, women's 5,000 meters, Portland Track Festival. We'll see who gets the crown list this year. Last year it was Sifan Hassan in 14:43, setting a meet record. And Anna Kemp-Bennett looks to be the pacer here, as Ella Donaghu slides herself into second position. Diljit Taylor, coached athlete now, training out in Utah. And Kemp-Bennett also coached by Taylor. And on the outside in the red too, Katelyn Tuohy making her return to the track. And the former NCAA 5,000 meter record holder, 15:03 best. So we have Kemp-Bennett, Donaghu, Courtney Frerichs, who has had a lot of success on this track. She is the meet record holder in the 3,000 meter steeplechase for this meet.
So it appears as though we have two different pace lights here, Jeff. The first front set of pace lights set for 14:50. That would be the blue and the green. The white appears to be a 15:05. That's the U.S. Championship standard for all those who are needed a reminder, because we talked about it a couple times today. If you haven't been tuned in with us for the last 4 or 5 hours, that's too bad. You missed some great stuff. If you just turned in for the hot window, welcome. We are in the hot window women's 5,000. Anna Kemp-Bennett inching her way up to that 14:50 pace light.
Yeah, welcome. We love to have you here. And those two marks, 14:50, the world standard, 15:05, the U.S. standard. And the U.S. standard, as we've been saying all evening, for any unsponsored athletes that hit that, they'll have the opportunity to sign a contract with Bandit, have them pay their way to Eugene for the U.S. championships. So Vanessa Frazier in this heat as well, Saucony athlete. She's had a lot of success on this track in the past, trying to find that form that got her to 14:48. She was on the Bowerman Track Club, ran that Boston University indoors, then an American record. But Donaghu up front, letting a gap form a little bit to Anna Kemp-Bennett.
You know what's interesting is I finished my run today, get back to the hotel, having a coffee in the lobby. The Stanford dorks, Jess McClain and Nessa Frazier, they're doing work. It's like they're doing homework on a college trip. No, we were having a good time. We were having a great chat. But Nessa, I was asking her, I was like, hey, you know, we were watching the Stockholm Diamond League. I was like, you know, what Diamond Leagues have you run in? And she's like, I've never run in a Diamond League, which is so shocking to me as an athlete who's broken, what's her PB in this, 14:48? Yeah, an astonishingly fast time. But she said, no, I ran that in her best year. She was on fire during those COVID races. And so, yeah, she said, you know, even though, you know, she probably would have had the opportunity having had run that time, the Diamond Leagues, none of those races were happening. And so she missed that opportunity, which she says is a big miss for her in her career, and hoping to get herself back into that kind of a position.
And through 3 flat here for Ella Donaghu. That was a 72-second lap. So that's 3 flat for Donaghu. Kemp-Bennett, the pacer, out front. There's a lot of firepower in that front part here. So Donaghu, Courtney Frerichs, Jess McClain, marathoners and 10K runner stepping down to the 5K once again. Earlier in her career, she was a 5,000 meter runner. But Katelyn Tuohy on the outside too, in that red uniform. Keep an eye on her as she moves her way up right next to Jess McClain.
Sort of like these earlier heats, I wish these women would just settle down a little bit, get in line, stop running the extra meters that you're running on the outside of lane 1. Every lap on the track is about 8 meters different if you go from the inside of lane 1 to the inside of lane 2. So if you find yourself running a half of a lane out, that's an extra 3 or 4 meters per lap. That adds up over 12 and a half laps of the track. So Katelyn Tuohy looks very comfortable, mind you, but running extra distance every single lap.
Tuohy now trying to find space for herself in front of Jess McClain, behind Courtney Frerichs. And another 72.9 delivered to Ella Donaghu there by the great pacing by Anna Kemp-Bennett. And coming up here, we're getting to the 1,600 meter mark. And it looks like there's some anxious energy in the pack, as you were saying, with Tuohy running side by side with Jess McClain. Everybody trying to get that position up there and maybe wanting the pace a little faster. They're going to have to do something about that. 450 through 1,600 meters.
Yeah, I feel like if the athletes were really concerned about a fast pace, that they would have been up on the heels of Anna Kemp-Bennett early on in this race. But there really has been a lagging meter or two between Anna and the rest of this field. Ella Donaghu coming through the first kilometer dead on 3 minutes. I was a math major. That's 15 flat pace. So if they're looking at something under 15 minutes, they're going to need to pick it up in the latter stages of this race.
And Kemp-Bennett pulling to the outside as now you can hear the thunder from the stands with the stomping from the crowd, urging them on with that old Hayward energy that you could still hear here up in Portland. 73 seconds here for that lap. And that's still Kemp-Bennett out to the front. She pulled wide and then she got right back in it. So Ella Donaghu still protecting that front spot. And Courtney Frerichs behind her. So the two athletes, both once Portland residents. Courtney Frerichs with the Bowerman Track Club. Ella Donaghu growing up here and then previously a member of the Union Athletics Club. Now both Swoosh TC, but both in Utah, I believe, separate coaches. And we're going to bring you right back to the action. We're going to stick here right now, but pretty soon we've got an interview with Donovan Brazier. So we've got Ella Donaghu out front now and Courtney Frerichs. And we're going to send it down for an interview on the couch with Donovan Brazier, but we'll keep you here as well.
As we prep for this interview, don't worry, we'll leave you with the pictures.
All right, we're sitting here with Donovan Brazier back in Portland, Oregon. We're going to wait for this interview so time's right. And now we're rolling with the interview. Donovan Brazier, welcome back to the track. Welcome back to Portland. What does it mean to run a season's best here in front of this home crowd for you?
Oh, it feels great. I love Oregon. I built a lot of my base here, so I'm just really grateful to be back and healthy.
There was a long time break there, but you've returned in class form, and it's exciting to watch not only as a fan but a friend. What does it mean to be able to have your head down, get to work, and then come out with wins back to back?
It means good. I definitely need confidence boosters, to say the least, because of how great the 800 meters gotten in America, but I'm just really trying to keep up with these guys right now.
You have all of Portland behind you, as we believe that you are one of the greatest of all time, and we appreciate you for what you've done for the sport, what you've done for the city of Portland, and there's a lot of young fans here that look up to you, so welcome back. We love you. Everybody, let's give Donovan a warm welcome back here in the Portland crowd. Welcome. He's going to sign his name here on the table, sign his name on the posters, and throw a T-shirt. So once again, if you were the loudest fan here for Donovan, here's your chance to get a T-shirt from him.
Okay, Ella Donaghu still clicking off 64s here at the front of this race. Courtney Frerichs sitting on her outside shoulder, and now Jess McClain on the inside. And we see this tight pack still forming behind them. So they're not strung out. Everybody is bunched together here. We've got Amaris Tanisma in here as well. On the outside, Under Armour athlete. And Lucy Jenks, Evelyn Kemboy sitting on the back of that pack with Reagan Yee, who is making a move to the outside. Everybody trying to get to the front of this pack, but not the tip-top front, which is being protected by Ella Donaghu. But now Katelyn Tuohy makes a move. as we make our way to 3,200 meters here. 9:47 on the clock.
You know, this isn't exactly playing out the way in which we thought that it would. I thought that the athletes would be a little more aggressive of going after some of these paces, at least the 15:05. But, you know, we thought they were going to try and attack that 15-minute barrier. But what is ultimately happening is you have athletes like Regan, who's like really trying to find some of the form that she's had in the year of 2024. Amaris Tenisma, who is trying to establish herself as one of the better American middle distance runners. She ran 15:15, if I'm not mistaken, at the Track Fest down in LA a few weeks ago. That was a big PR for her. But this is a great opportunity to mix it up with some of the best in the U.S., some of the best in the world. And, like, this pace is perfect for her. So that's, you know, while it may not be exactly what we thought was going to happen, this is an incredible opportunity for some of these athletes.
And Tuohy stringing it out right now, 72 seconds, ratcheting down the pace. So moving from 74s to 72s. She doesn't want to let this sit any longer. Regan Yee going with her. Ella Donaghu still sitting third in the pack with Courtney Frerichs. And all the major players are there. So Tuohy doing what she can to make this a real strength effort here in this electric forest atmosphere. And Tuohy now stringing it out.
That move got rid of Everlyn Kemboy, who was hanging onto the back of that pack. Regan Yee now the only one to really make a strong effort of trying to keep up with Katelyn Tuohy as they're coming up on 3 laps to go. Great to see Katelyn running with this amount of confidence, this amount of strength, taking it to this field right now where she has 4 or 5 meters on a pack of about 7.
And the former NC State Wolfpack athlete, Katelyn Tuohy, now taking charge of this race. Inside 3 laps to go. And that was a 71-second lap for Tuohy as she's got the gap, and you could see it right now. So who's going to try and get back to her out of that pack behind her? This is Tuohy's race now as that gap keeps growing. And she's feeling it right now as she's chasing that finish line and finding her old form here. Looking so strong, working her way down the back straightaway, around the curve.
You know, Katelyn Tuohy, I think, is a rare example of an athlete who was so incredibly dominant in high school, went on to continue that dominance in college, and now is showing herself to be the class of this field right here, Jeff. She's put 15, 20 meters on a group of very celebrated 5,000-meter runners and steeplechasers. Olympic medalists are in that group behind her, and she has just made mincemeat of them.
So Courtney Frerichs leading that pack, the Olympic steeplechase medalist. And Katelyn Tuohy inside 2 laps to go. Up front, driving the pace, a 70-second lap. So she went 72, 71, 70, ratcheting down the pace, growing that gap. Frerichs pushing a 73-second lap, leading that second pack. So what's going to happen? Who's going to make a move in that second pack? Because we know they're fighting for that second, third place position. But first place right now going away is Katelyn Tuohy, who's having a stellar performance this evening.
Katelyn Tuohy's listed personal best 15:03. Those white lights in front of her are 15:05. If she can continue on this 70-second clip, she will run, not only win this race, but set a personal best in the process. The group behind her, I think that they've just left way too much ground to cover over the final lap of this race. But Katelyn Tuohy showing no signs of slowing down.
70-second pace too. She's running 4:40, 1,600 meter pace here. So we'll see what it is when she comes up to the bell lap, and she's reaching it right now. Katelyn Tuohy leading this race, 13:55 on the clock. And that was a 69. So taking 1 second off each lap, Katelyn Tuohy. Donaghu back to the front is now pushing this pace clock to 70. And we know that Donaghu can close like crazy too. But she's got Katie Izzo on her heels, the Adidas athlete in the red kit. So Katelyn Tuohy charging out front, then Ella Donaghu, and then Katie Izzo.
Katelyn Tuohy smack dab in the middle of that 15:05 pace light. What does she have over the final 200? She's gone big to the arms, sprinting with all of her might. She has now eclipsed the pace lights. What does she have left of the final 150 meters?
Around the bend in the electric forest, here comes Katelyn Tuohy. rolling around onto the home straightaway, down Paradise Alley. This race is all hers and looking incredibly strong, leading the pack. Ella Donaghu in second, Katie Izzo fighting for that spot. But here comes Katelyn Tuohy. The clock hits 15 minutes, 15:03, and she'll be there 15:04, it looks like, for the victory. Donaghu takes second, Izzo third. 15:04:07 for Katelyn Tuohy, victorious tonight at the Portland Track Festival. Donaghu 15:08. So Tuohy, 68 seconds. Taking a look at her final splits, she went 72, 71, 70, 69, 68. Incredible pacing there.
What a run from Katelyn Tuohy. Hats off to her. Great to see her back running so strongly. Big PR, I have to say it, for Mars Tenisma, going from a 15:15 personal best down to just under 15:12 in that environment. Regan Yee showing great form in 15:10, and here's Katelyn Tuohy powering down the last 50 meters, grimacing, gritting her teeth, giving it absolutely everything, emptying the tank, and being rewarded with the victory.
The fans roaring her on to the finish, too. Lucy Jenks coming up with a great result, 15:09 for her in fourth place. Regan Yee, 15.